Right, so there is actually something really that I love lots, which is squirrels, right? When I go on a walk, I see these squirrels and they're running up and down the trees, they're jumping from branch to branch. He's using its tail to balance himself, and he's just sitting on that ledge with his little nuts. He's just chomping on his little nut and his paws up like a dog, like when a dog goes in its back, you tickle its belly. But this squirrel's obviously sitting upright, and you look to another tree, there's another squirrel, and then there's another squirrel, and it's just like they're just so peaceful, just sitting on that tree eating their nut. And just when you watch them run around the trees, they look like having so much fun. And I'm like, why can't I be a squirrel?
I know. I literally seen one on the fence today, and I'm like, their life is just so simple. Like, there's no, they don't have to worry about like everything that's happening in the world right now. I'm not gonna say the word, but like they don't have to worry about like all of those things. They just be. They're just present, and that's kind of just like how we should be in life anyway. Like they're a really good lesson to us. I think any animal, they just like plod along, and there's no like gossiping or arguing or like, oh my god, this is happening and I'm jealous of this and this is dramatic. Like it's just simple. Like we just need to follow squirrels. I agree. Like just happy little creatures.
Like this squirrel, it was on the floor and then it ran up a tree because it knew I was there. And I was walking round the tree slowly as he or she was walking round the tree the other side. And it was at one point where we made eye contact because he thought I no, he thought I went left and actually I went right. And all of a sudden his head sort of poked round and we made eye contact and he was like, shit, it's still there. And then he must have run up because then I kept going round even more and I couldn't see him anymore. But the fact that that squirrel knows that I'm there and he's moving around the tree as I am just shows the intelligence of that little squirrel. And it's just like we're both conscious, and it's just like it's just amazing. Like you're a squirrel, I'm a human, but you have a you're smart. You know I'm there, and he looked at me and he hid himself and went back up the tree. It's amazing.
No, it's true. Like I think in some ways we've actually gotten less intelligent, like with all of the intelligence that's like around us, like everything that does everything for us, like calculators and everything like that. And I feel like these squirrels are like that's real intelligence. That's like how we were. And like if we went into the wild right now, I'd say the majority of us just wouldn't know what the hell to do. We just would be attacked within the first night of being out in the wild. So I feel like these animals are like a really good demonstration of like how we were and how we need to be, not in the sense of like we're predators and we're back to that rawness of being animals, but more in the sense that we they have this presence, and because they're so present in the moment, they're like constantly on guard, not on guard, but they're constantly so present that they can detect anything that's like happening around them. But like squirrels, no, they don't let you go near them. I'm like, I want to talk to you, squirrel, but no, they're not gonna let you come anywhere near them. It's crazy.
And like sometimes if you look at say an animal, right, there's
Mm,
just nothing there. Like you don't know you can feel that they don't know they're conscious. If you look at a cow, right, you look in its
mm,
eye. If you look at a horse, you can feel that he knows that he's there and I'm here. And some animals you look at, there's just nothing, right? But then I
mm.
look at the squirrel and I know that he's aware of me. Like you can feel the energy. It's almost like, people say you can glaze into somebody's soul and there was nothing there, right? And some
Yeah.
people you can really feel amazing, like something. And it's all to do with consciousness. Like my dog, she's walking along the floor and she's looking up at me as when we walk, and she knows exactly what we're doing. She knows the routine. She's in control. We're in control. I say merely go up to the top bit in the garden rather than piss on the first bit because it kills the grass. She just looks around at me like, all right, for fuck's sake, I'm gonna do it, right? Like she knows she's conscious, but not all animals are conscious. And what I mean by that is they don't know
Mm.
that they are existing. Like a cow is just eating the grass, and you can
Yeah.
look at any cow and it's just the same feeling. But some animals, you can feel that they know they are. They're almost like when you look at like a chimpanzee on Facebook or Instagram and like a chimp, um, and he's playing with you and he's like brushing her hair and he's smelling you like he isn't aware. He's aware that of his existence, and not every animal is. And I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's true. But you mentioned horses. I find horses fascinating. Like, I just feel like they have so much energy, and I think it's all down to energy. Like, I don't know exactly. Like, some animals, like you say, they're not conscious. Like a bug on the ground is not like conscious. It's not aware of our presence, like to that extent. They sense something, but they don't like, they're not aware to that level. But I just think horses, like their eyes emit like such a strong energy, and like the healing power of like being around horses, that like that's used so much with like therapy and stuff, even for like kids and like mental health and stuff. I just think it's like animals are just so, they're so pure consciousness. It's not like interrupted by the mind. They're they're present in consciousness, whereas we are conscious, but and we also have that spiritual essence, but we are also like controlled by our logical brain and everything around us. So we've kind of lost that essence that like I think that like horses have. Like I just find them the most beautiful animals, and dogs. Like exactly what you say about dogs. I could just like my dog Millie as well. She when I was back in Ireland, like she's just so cute, and it's just like that. You could just sit there all day and cuddle that loving energy, because that's literally what it is. It's just like pure. And I think we need that. And like dogs as well, like people, like the amount of people getting dogs during lockdown and everything, which I think is sad that they're giving them away after it, and it's not right. But like so many people are relying on that pure source and going back to that to like heal themselves like when they're feeling low, which I think is super interesting.
It's like at the like circus places where the dolphins they do their tricks and the dolphin goes up to the kid, puts its nose on the kid's nose, doesn't knock it over, but
Yeah.
that judgment between fucking pushing over the kid, this massive dolphin, and just touching noses and like giving it a little kiss, like that dolphin is aware. He knows that that's a young person, that's no threat, and he knows his job is to just give him a little kiss and it spins over, but it's got a smile on its face, which means that dolphin knows that he's getting a reaction. And as you said, some animals or maybe insects and bugs, because I think about a dog, a squirrel, even a frog that I
Mm,
find on the floor, when I pick it up and look at him, we have a connection, and I know that he knows that I'm not going to hurt him because he tries to
mm,
escape here until I don't let him, and then he just sort of surrenders, and I stroke him, and then we sort of built a bond. Like I'm not going to hurt you. Let me stroke you. But there's some, maybe it's not animals, maybe it's the insects where I'm picking up that they don't feel like they're there, because animals like cows and donkeys and dolphins, yeah, but things like don't know, even like robins, I feel that they know, but there's some don't. Maybe it is simply just bugs because they don't have a backbone. Some don't have a backbone, and you need a
yeah.
backbone to to feel things. Like it's something to do with the brain. You need a backbone to feel stuff. Yeah, that's it. So
Oh,
you could
that's interesting.
stamp on. It's like an amphibian. At school days, if he hasn't got a
Hmm.
backbone, he hasn't got a nervous system, which means
Yeah.
if you tread on a worm, it won't feel anything.
Lucky it. No, I think that's right. Like, I guess we don't know, but I think it's different levels of consciousness, you know? Like, exactly what you say. Like, there's certain animals that, like, have lots of it, and then some of them that don't. But, like, I think that's exactly the same as humans, you know? We all, like, have the ability to be, like, super conscious, but we're so stuck in, our brain. Like, see this brain? It's just so, like, that's something I've become, like, super aware of lately, is like gut feeling. Oh my gosh, like the sixth sense, it is a thing. And like people might say, oh no, that's airy fairy, but like, whoa, I feel it. Like, and I've been proved like right in so many different situations lately where I just get this feeling, and it feels like it's like having anxiety, but it's not anxiety. You get this like weird feeling, and it makes you want to be sick, and then you find out that something happens that actually you had thought about, but you got the feeling first. Whereas anxiety is like when you have the thoughts first and then you get a weird feeling. But this gut feeling, it's like it won't go away. Like those times where I was like literally like I feel so sick, and then I find out something and the feeling goes away, and it's just like a sixth sense that can just pick up. Like that's all we need to know. Like we talk about like psychics and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, this like our chakra system, like the abilities that we have within our own like psychic system, and it's scientific, it's super scientific, is like unbelievable. Like we know everything we need to know if we like can tune into that feeling, and I think everyone has it. Like I think just different people are awakened to it or aware of it at certain times in their life. And like my mom has exactly the same thing, and it's crazy, crazy accurate. I don't know if you've ever felt that kind of thing, have you?
Oh, 100%. So
Oh,
I don't know whether you want to say it, but don't say if you don't want to. But that thing in question, right?
yeah.
Are you happy to say it?
Yeah, well, it was just like, do you mean the thing that evoked the feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was to do with something relationship wise. I'd not go into it in too much detail, but yeah, basically I had this feeling that this person, this guy, had like not told me the full truth about something, and that something was going to happen, and there was something off in that relationship at that particular time. And then the next day, I got a message from this guy like ending things, and I still had that feeling. And I used to get on the train every day, like day going to work, and I felt like I was going to be physically sick on the train, and I felt like I was actually having panic attacks, and I thought I was having anxiety. But then I found out something a couple of days later, and the feeling went completely away. So to me, that's not anxiety. That's not the brain creating something, because that is a thing, and I've I've experienced it a couple of times, and I'm sure everybody has. But this is like a feeling that doesn't resonate with your truth, because truth is pure love vibration. It's good vibrations, and when someone's telling you the truth and everything's in alignment, that's all you're going to feel. But once you start feeling something that's not, or being told something that's not in alignment with that truth, your gut senses, oh, this doesn't match. And so you get this feeling, oh my God, I feel so sick, something's off. And sometimes, like, I have experienced it, like, where the words have just come into my head about, like, in a very, like, maybe 3 years ago, I remember I woke up one morning and the guy I was saying was, I just had the words come into my head. I had a feeling the words came into my head. Oh, he's been with somebody else, and I found out it was true. But I had brushed it under the surface because I didn't want to think that I was being, creating these things. But you have to be very careful to tune in to know when you're getting that feeling, and then the thoughts come, or when you're getting the thoughts and then the feeling comes, because that gut feeling can save you from so many situations, and like allows the truth to come out and allows you to be returned to that like pure vibration. And like this person, like I'm like we're back speaking again, and that actually tuning into that gut feeling has helped us to like grow as people, like, and for me as well, like, so yeah, I just think it's something, and it's a gift. Like it's so I say it's a gift, but it's also a torture, because when you get that feeling and you don't know what it's about, it's really freaky. Like I remember, like, this was a crazy story, like maybe 5 years ago when I first came to London and I was in halls. I woke up in the middle of the night, I'd say about 3 o'clock, and I had this horrible gut feeling come over me. And at that time, excuse me, I didn't know what that was. Like I had no idea what I was feeling. I was like, something's not right, something bad's gonna happen, something's gonna happen. And then when I woke up in the morning, I found out about something that had happened back home in my hometown in Ireland, about an accident that had happened, and something bad did really happen. And then when I found out that, I was just like, and that was around the time that that actually happened, and the people were only connected to me via my brother. And that to me was like, oh, like we have this like super radar that we can actually feel things related to people that we know or are close to. I just think that if we used it, we would be like super like there'd be no lies, no bullshit. Like we would just we nobody could lie to you, because you know something's off, and then they can't lie to your face. I just think it's amazing.
So when I used to spend my whole life in my head because of the Tourette's, right? It was
Yeah.
just negative thoughts going around in circles. So I don't know what it was like not to feel sick. Apart
Mm,
from that, I used to eat really, really bad. So I used to have stomach acid, reflux, used to eat
yeah.
loads of milk and cheese, and I used to always feel sick. And
Mm,
so it was like a mixture of what I was eating, my thoughts, and my gut trying to fucking pull me out of this toxic school pattern that I was in. So I didn't know what it was like not to feel sick every single day of my life. What not only was I in my head, I always
wow.
felt sick. And so one by one, I did my basically, I before I meditated to slow my thoughts down from new ones coming in, I had to deal with all my past thoughts. And then when
Mm-hmm.
I dealt with all the thoughts, that's when I stopped feeling that sickness, because it was like all these feelings of you've got to do this, you've got to get that back, you've got to pay off this debt, you've got to tell this person you cheated on, you got to tell this person you like her. It's like fucking hell, all this shit that you avoid, which is why you feel sick, that it just becomes too much. So every
Mm,
day you feel shitty. I didn't cheat on anyone, by the way, but just an example. So I did all that stuff, and then you just have to filter out the new shit coming in, and then I changed my diet completely. So
mm,
people are feeling this nervousness, which is their gut all the time, but because they're thinking negative stuff, they're stressed, they're eating shitty, they're constantly around dickheads, that they never have that filtration of having that being in harmony and happy and peace, and then they
mm.
suddenly feel sick to ask themselves, okay, have I eaten anything bad today? No. Was I thinking? No. Okay, so it was a feeling, which means there's something out there that's going to come to me, like news, for example, but they never have that separation of not
Wow.
feeling sick. And so, as you said, I used to make myself feel sick via the thought, but at the same time, I now know from experience that when I feel something, to act upon it immediately, because I get a nervous, sickening feeling if I don't. And for me, that's all about being up to date with my thought.
Hmm.
It's almost like if I get on a train, the train goes off. If I get that feeling the train's going to go and I feel sick, it means that that train has left the platform and I can still get on it,
Yeah.
but that feeling sick says get on it, jump, jump, jump. You still got time, and then I
Yeah.
jump on it, and then the sickness feeling goes away. But if you let that train go, then you feel sick all day, all night, go
Oh my
sleep
God.
thinking about it, and it's like, what is it? Um, but it all comes down to addressing issues that you can address right now, because all these problems, unless it's death, for example, which you cannot predict, right?
Yeah.
Most stuff you can take control over now. It's just prolonged. You can take control over most shit now, apart from death, for example, and
Yeah.
situations. So I took advantage of all the stuff that I knew was going to come in the future. So, for example, if I knew my mum was going to get angry at my dad because he didn't say he lied about something 5 months ago, well, that nervous feeling would have been in my subconscious brain until then, or
Oh
even my
yeah.
mum picking up on that thought that something isn't right. So she'd feel sick for 5 months. Whereas I was like, Mum, that's your gut feeling. This is why, Clem, you lied about this. Now that feeling is gone. So like we all, even my mum and me, sit in this nervous thoughts all day, every day, because you don't know what it is, you don't know how to address it. And it's just, as you said, lying next to your ex-boyfriend, whatever, you're picking up on his thoughts, his vibration, whilst he's asleep, whilst he's not asleep. And if it's not in alignment with what his actions are, it's going to be disharmony, and it's going to be like something's wrong. It's going to make you feel sick. You trust your gut. Did you cheat on me? Yes, I did. Feeling's gone. So literally, it's there, period. It's just how you tune into it.
It's literally that, like, and you said it in like a really good way there. You
Thank you.
just have to go through each thing, each step, and strip it back and be like, did this happen today? Like, did I eat well today? Did and then when you realize there is nothing else, there were no thoughts, and it's just a feeling, then you can't ignore that. But I think people are too scared. Like, I genuinely think we as humans are too scared to tune into that, because that feeling can be scary, because you don't know, like, because you don't know what it means, and because, and it's not always a bad thing. It can be an excitement thing. If like something's coming, I've got to, but I can feel the difference. Like the sticky feeling, it's also like energetic. You can feel it in your chakras, and you can tend to feel like a slight difference in how that energy feels when it's going to be something good, or when it's something not so good. But like if we just like strip that down and tune into it, I don't know. But it is like sometimes I'm like, why have I got this? Why am I tuned into this? I don't want to know. But I'm also really grateful for for that thing. But something else you said there actually, about people filtering like the dickheads in their life or whatever. Like I just think like that's something that's come up a lot for me and like my friends and stuff lately, is like you really have to be careful like what energy you let in to what I call the vortex, your little world, because like you become like those people, because that energy and those vibrations are picked up on. You become like them for a start, and if any of them have like a negative or lack of belief in you, then that's going to start showing up in your belief system. And like I just think that we're too kind sometimes to people who are just not right for us, and it doesn't mean that people are a bad they're a bad person. It means that perhaps they're just not the right energetic fit for us. Like, I think sometimes we hold on to people and relationships and like friendships and stuff whenever they like aren't in alignment. It's all literally vibrational alignment. Like if you are not in alignment with if you are friends with someone and then you both grow into different alignment paths and then you try to come back and be like besties and you're just not on the same, I like to say train stop, like just think of it as you're going to different train stops and this friend's moved up to station 13, you're way back in 8, you're just, it's not that either one is better, one is worse, you just at a different train station and you can't meet, it's just clash. So I just think it's so important to like filter the people and like also just like filter, you know what, who you tell what and like who you trust with things, because that's also like an anxiety inducing thing. It's like keep your like circle to people who you are like really trusting, that are going to respect your vibration and want the best for you. And like that's something that one of my friends, a performer friend, has said to me lately, is that, oh, people are just so jealous, like they don't want the best for people. And like that comes from a complete place of lack. And I think especially like in everything that's happening in the world, people are extra in a way. There's half the world that are getting closer and more supportive, and then the other half that are like getting more jealous and stuff of any success that happens, and especially like in performing and stuff. And I just think it's so like it's so important, just like support people, just like want the best, because that's you believing that there's enough abundance out there for both of you, you know, to have success, because otherwise it's just lack mindset.
Do me a favor, pull back your hair by the mic 'cause it's
Oh,
rustling on it. Just your right
sorry.
hand side one.
There we go.
Anyway, yeah. So I remember when I used to go to a club, right, with people who weren't my friends, but they were just there, right? Not only did I feel sick all the way to the club, I'd feel sick waiting outside. I'd feel
Ooh.
sick going into the club, right? And it's me tuning in to how the night is probably going to go because of how it normally goes, and yet I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing anything about it. And I know this for 100% fact. The night always used to end where I wanted to leave. They all got drunk. They'd want to go back and fuck a girl, and I'd want to leave now, but they want to leave at fucking 4 in the morning. Want to get kebab, cheesy chips, right? And I'm like, please, can we go home? Yeah. And I knew subconsciously that's how it would end because it always does end like that.
Yeah.
At that stage, I wasn't aware of mistakes. It was just this is life, right? Until you realise no, it's not. So to cut long story short, I stopped going clubbing with these idiots, and I went clubbing by myself. So I could go when I wanted, I could leave when I wanted, I could dance with
Wow.
whoever I wanted. There was no, can we go for a cigarette? And they've just been, I could stay in the club and dance. Speak to whoever I wanted without them saying he's gay. Fuck off. I'm not gay, you twat. You're jealous because he wants that person, right? So then all of a sudden, those feelings of nervousness went because it was my gut trying to
Wow.
tell me that what you don't want to happen is going to happen. He's going to get drunk. He's going to want to stay forever. You're going to want to leave. And it disappeared when I started to go by myself. And even such things when I used to go to the pub with these people because, like, who else am I going to go with? Because at that time I wasn't confident enough to go by myself. I used to
Mm-hmm.
walk into the club, get this sickening, nervous feeling all the time. And it's to do with them talking about you in a negative way. They're saying something to your face, and it's not in harmony with how they really feel and what they're saying when you're not there. And then you go back to the table,
Wow.
and they've gone outside to the smoking area without you, rather than waiting for you to come with them as your friend. But of course, we weren't actually friends. I was just the annoying shit who felt like I should be included, who nobody wanted, so I invited myself. And so it's almost like I know this. I know that it like me. Why the fuck am I here? And it's because, well, why shouldn't I be here? Like, and they really said, no. You're not in harmony with these people. You shouldn't even be at this pub. You're completely a black sheep in this pub. That's why you feel shit. Get out of that pub. And then
Wow.
again, I don't feel sick anymore because I'm only feeling sick when I'm amongst vibrations that are not in harmony with my thoughts. And when I learned all this shit, that's when I had to stop seeing all my friends because it wasn't in harmony with with the face value of what they were saying or doing. You know what I mean?
Wow. No,
You leave a room and
completely.
they
That's
talk
such a
about
good
you, that type
example.
of thing.
That's so true.
And
Like,
you walk back in the room and you feel nervous, but you don't know why. That's because they were just having a fucking conversation,
wow.
mean about you, which is different to what they were saying to your face. So it's your gut saying something doesn't add up.
Doesn't, yeah. It's like different train stops once again. It's like, oh, that's so true. Like your gut feeling never lies, especially with people. But sometimes you just have to get the lesson like a trillion times before you'll finally go, okay, I get it. Like this person is not good for me. And like you can always like feel people's intentions, you know, and sometimes we're just blinded to it. But like the more in tune you like get to this whole thing, like anyone, they just like you become like super like detective with like people. And like I've had like my mom's like super intuitive as well, and she will always like from I was young say something about there's something like off about that friend that you're hanging about with or whatever, and I would be like, no, mom, like that person's good. Just stop being like negative. And then they would always prove right. It would always, always, always be true that like something would happen there. And like literally your vibes, your tribe, like you're bouncing off the right people. And one thing I found, like especially when I was at uni, or like if I went to like a party or something and I didn't really know the people very well, or it wasn't the usual people that I would hang out with, I would get really anxious. Like I would feel really like that's like you feeling as well, like sitting around the table, for example, even in a group of like 8 people. And I would start to have thoughts like, I need to get out of here. I need to get out. I need to find a reason to leave. I need, like, I don't fit in here. I don't have anything to say. And like that would really annoy me a lot. And it had happened a lot with me in social situations, especially like uni days and stuff like that, and in particular groups of people. And I just couldn't figure it out. I was like, am I like a misfit? Like, do I just genuinely not have anything to say? Am I too quiet? But I knew that when I was with other people, like particular people, I was really talkative and I felt super comfortable and I didn't want to leave. So that to me was a realization that, oh, like it's obviously just it's just that those people aren't the right people. They're not in alignment with me. And therefore, like if I put myself now, like I've made some amazing friends who are like really like just into being positive and supportive with each other, and I will like tell them something and I'll instantly feel comfortable. I'll be around them. I could just sit in silence. That's something I've realized as well. Like if you can sit in silence with someone or a group of people and not feel awkward or weird and just feel a complete peace, then that's like the highest vibe you can get, like silence, because we talk to fill in space sometimes, and we're like, oh, I have to like impress this person, I have to like speak, but no, just silence is pure, oh, so powerful.
So I have a twin flame, and when we're on FaceTime, we just don't stop talking. It's just bang, 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 bang. And when we first met, it was bang, 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 bang. And as we got to know each other, I believe she's my twin flame. She might not, but whatever. When we actually meet, we literally just sit, say in Hyde Park in silence. There's no feeling to talk. And she was like, why don't we say anything? Why don't we have a laugh? I'm like, the energy is just taken out of me. It's so peaceful and bliss. I'm such in harmony, just lay next to you, not even speaking. The fact that you're there, the feeling does the voice. Like the feeling answers any talking needs. And it's like I can't help the fact that I don't feel the need to speak. It just takes over you.
Wow.
You can't even explain it. And that's what a true twin flame is, where you basically have your own energy next to you. And if you're happy to sit in the field reading a book by yourself, if they're your twin flame, they're also going to be happy reading a book sitting by themselves. And if you don't
Wow.
feel the need to speak when you're by yourself, they won't. So it's like, well, that's why you're not speaking. You know what I mean? Anyone else who's not
Wow.
the same as you, well, depending on how much they need to speak, they're going to engage in conversation. But because you don't often speak, you're going to find yourself having to unnecessarily, in your mind, talk back because you're like, can't you just look at the birds and the squirrels for fuck's sake? Why you talk to me about that? Because they're used to their energy is always talking about nonsense and their thoughts. And so that's when you realize, okay, well, we're not really the same people. She's at a platform going to Bath uni. I'm going to Southampton uni. It doesn't mean we won't both be at the same platform again in the future. We were
Mm.
at the same platform. Don't have to fall out with you. There doesn't have to be a reason why we don't see each other. We're just not in harmony at this time in our life. It could be forever. It could be for 5 years. It could be for 20 years. But until the energy changes, the energy is either in harmony or it's not.
Wow.
And it is hard for people to understand that,
That's so
especially
that's
when you just cut people out of their lives and there's no reason for it. That is hard.
yeah. That is hard, but like what you said there about like you were talking about the silence and the twin flame thing, like the relationship that I'm in now started off actually meeting someone on Instagram, which is completely like not any way that I would have been searching for a relationship. I'm very much like a romantic, and I like to like, you know, think of like the
Candles in the
natural.
bath.
That's literally me, literally. Um, but this person, like, it was through a friend of a friend, and I wasn't like, trying to like look for it. I had put it in my manifestations anyway, and they turned up, and everything was like all like video call. Like we would video call every day. We still do, and literally just we would talk so much. I'm like, oh my god, we're talking so much. It's exactly like what you said. But then I finally met that person, and the energy was just like what I thought it would be. But like I was so taken aback by the silence. Like it would just like lay there, and it was just like silence and like feeling, and like just I'm getting emotional thinking about it, because that was just such a like unexplainable feeling. And now that you've just said that, like the twin flame thing is like, because it's like a part of your own energy that's just sitting there. Wow, I didn't. That's really, really, really beautiful. Like I just think if but I think it's something like in general that we could tune into a wee bit more, like with the silence and stuff, where we always like, I feel like that leads on to like, we're always trying to impress someone. Like, let's just be, and like just have no expectations to people. And then like, it's just beautiful, it's present.
So a twin flame is your equal energy, but it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean that you're supposed to be with them in the physical world. For example, if your twin flame lives in Australia and you live in England, it's probably not going to work, right? If they live in the other part of the country, probably not going to work. Different schools, different parents' upbringings. Who's got money? Who hasn't got money? You know, have they got a parent together or not? Like, do they want to live in a big house or a small house? Do they want marriage or no marriage? Do they want kids or no kids? All these factors are basically important into making somebody be in a physical relationship with somebody, twin flame or not. Because in the energy world, you're already in harmony. You're those two silent people in the park. So what I've realized is, after longing for my twin flame, is that maybe you can't physically be with your twin flame because you're so similar that if you want your own house and a dog and don't want kids, but you want to have this relationship with somebody else 3 out of the 4 times a week, they're going to be the same. And if you're really independent, where you can only really see them once every 4 weeks because you're busy, then they're going to be also really independent and you can see them every 4 weeks. And so it doesn't fit, as I
Wow.
have realized, which then makes me basically, I have two twin flames, right? When I say two, I mean I thought I met my twin flame, and then I met somebody else who was like, okay, this has to be it. And then I found that person, and it's like, actually, we are exactly the same, but the physical sides don't match at this
Mm,
moment in time. So then, okay, and then I look at my second twin flame, and I'm like, this is more appropriate for the physical reality and spiritual reality, whereas my actual twin flame is spiritual right now, but not physical. She lives with her parents. She doesn't drive at the moment. The same situation. So it's like, well, where do we meet up in the
mm,
middle? Okay, I'm not gonna spend fucking money on a hotel every time. So it's like it doesn't. Well, obviously, COVID didn't help the matter, but it's like you could be too similar that you repel essentially than ways of attracting. So just because they're your twin flame doesn't mean that you're going to have them in the physical reality love romance sense. That's what I will say from my experience of going up the mountain and going back down. Most people never reach the mountain, so they don't really have the wisdom of saying, okay, well, this is what happened because this happened. It's always, I've met the one, let's get married forever. Like people at school, they leave school at 16, 18, they're together with somebody and they think, fuck it, let's just stay together forever. And they're not even the same people, and they get divorced at 50. But yeah, that's powerful for for anyone to know that just because you've met what you think is the one doesn't mean they're the one in terms of in your mind of what you want, which is dog, mortgage, house, fucking, they like going out for dinner, they like massages and baths, because the chances are, you know, you might get a portion of that. You know what I mean?
that's so true. Like, because I've thought like a few times I met my twin flame, and this person won't mind me saying it, but like that first person that I thought was my twin flame, he like came out as gay a while afterwards, after I like confessed my love for him and whatever. But we are literally like the same person. I'm not even joking. Like, we say the same things at the same time. We think exactly the same thing about it. We're just so similar in many ways. But like, it would never work. It's a complete spiritual connection in this lifetime. But that's what makes me also question. I'm like, twin flames and soulmates, like we also have soulmates. So how do you know like who's your twin flame and who's your soulmate?
I'll tell you
Like
that.
it's
A twin flame is what I like to call the person at the top of the mountain that when you reach at the top, you'll meet. Your soulmates are people you meet walking up the mountain. If
wow.
somebody is on is somebody is a 900 foot in the air, they're the strongest soulmate next to the twin flame. If somebody's on 700 foot in the air, they're a soulmate, but not as strong as the soulmate at 800 foot and 900 foot. The twin flames at the very top, like you can't get any higher, right? People at the bottom of the mountain could be your twin flame when you were 14, right? At school, you did
Mm,
everything together. You were besties, and now you're like two fucking different people. It's like Jesus, she was my best friend. Like, what the hell? We're just completely different. So you were soulmates at that time, meaning your energy at that time was in harmony with her energy at that time. And as you get older, your energy increases when you start to be independent and doing what makes you feel good. Once you've kind of
wow.
built that foundation of living your life of what makes you feel good, you are that complete one energy. You can't really change in vibration unless you choose to make yourself more depressed. Because if you maintain your energy at this happiness, then you won't get any less. You'll just stay the same. You might get these spurts of more like good news or sex or whatever, but then you go back to that default vibration. And that so the soulmates
Mm,
are the people who essentially complete you. When you become complete, then you attract your twin flame because you've got to be the same energy as them, and they've also got to be the same energy as you. Otherwise, if they've got room to grow, then they're not the same vibration as you. So it's only when you've both completed yourself that you attract. But it doesn't mean you're like identical, like frequency 9.41, 9.41. Like it's not going to be exactly the same, but it's nearest two above and nearest two below. You know what I mean?
wow. That makes so much sense when I put my life into perspective that way.
Soulmates going up, twin flame at the top.
Wow. Yeah, because I thought the like all along I'm like, yeah, that's my soulmate. That's my soulmate. Like that's the one. That's the
I've had
one. And then
many
I'm like,
soulmates.
huh?
I've had many soulmates that have come into my life. I don't mean people that I've grown up with. I mean
Mm,
over the years of Tinder and Instagram and Facebook. Some people, I mean, I could tell you my story is incredible, right? Random people at random points when I'm yearning and seeking something, they come into my life. I'm like, this is the one. My first girlfriend. I've never had a girlfriend, 28, but when I'm like 18, 19, maybe this is the one. They literally came in overnight. I got something powerful from them. They were like, oh my God, this is amazing. No joke, never spoke to them again. And this happened
wow.
multiple times. Each person gave me something different to the last. And it's like, and they disappear. And then you look at the overall pattern of why did this person come? They were on the same vibration as you, seeking the same thing in reverse, that you gave it to them
Wow.
and they gave it to you. And I can't even remember these people. I have no idea what they look like, what their names were, what they were. I just remember the patterns of she was here, then she was here, then she was here, and she was here, and she was here. And then eventually just you've made it. You've literally become yourself, which is you've got control over yourself.
Literally, because like everything I've ever like I've not had like a proper relationship as well. Like, but like those little things with people, like those people who come in, like this is really interesting because a friend said to me, oh, you'll have to go through like a proper like 2 year relationship and then break up before you find your one. And I was just like, this was after I have experienced lots of things. And I was like, no. She's like, but you will, because you need like a long one first. And I'm like, no, because I have had like very like short-lived ones, but those people have taught me, and those situations have taught me those things that I needed to learn. Yes, they were short-lived, but I got like the lesson and just like, like maximized often. So I think it's like it's really interesting. Like we do get exactly what we need and what we need to give that person. It's like an exchange. And it doesn't matter how short, like you said, like it could be one night or it could be 3 months or whatever, but that is a soulmate, and that's you healing and becoming more of yourself. And I think every time that has happened, like in my life, I know that I've like grown a little bit. And I think it was like recently, like I was like, is like I wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't like trying to find anything or trying to fix anything with me. And it was just when it was complete like peace that like a surprising person came into my life and has stuck around. So I just think it's amazing. Like we should appreciate. Like I know a lot of people like look back on like people that have been in their lives in the past, and they try to cut it out, and just like they want to pretend like it never existed. But like those things, they make us like us, I think.
Yeah, so like, I'm sure you know this, but you literally can get on your right on your whiteboard the exact person that you want. There is so many variables of anyone that you want, of traits of that and not that. You can literally write down any trait that you want, any nationality, right? Whether the parents are divorced or not, whether they've got one kid, four kids. And if you know it's going to happen, you go about your day through somehow, whether you were swiping on Tinder, on Instagram, walking the dog, they will appear. I can tell you this for 100% fact. When I was seeking my vice president twin flame, as I call it, right? I literally had a list of all the things that I wanted this person to be. I swiped on Tinder. I was like, oh my God, she's the one. I sent her a message saying, you're the one. And we spoke, and it was like she ticked every single box that I requested. So not the purest form of myself, because we're not exactly the same, but in terms
Mm-hmm.
of requirements, it was like 50. I listed 50 things. I never actually sent her the requirements because we never attracted like I wanted to, so I never got round to that. But literally, it was 50 things I listed that I wanted in a person if it was a choice you could have, and it was every single thing. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Accents, she was black. I like black people. Every single thing, right, had her in place. It was every single box, and it was just like incredible. So
Wow.
you can literally attract whatever you want. Otherwise, you'll attract what you already are. So if you've got work to do, you'll attract somebody who's also got work to do. And you're both trying to heal yourselves, and each other's got problems, and it'll just fuck up, and then you'll be like, we need some space, and then you'll never get back right. But if you want specific requirements, then technically you want things that are better than yourself or what you already are. So when they meet you, they'll be like, okay, she's exactly like me. Fantastic, no problems. Whereas if you've got the problems and you want somebody like an upgrade for you, then you'll attract them, but then it might not be what they want because you've got to think about what they want. And then you might
Mm-hmm.
have to go off and work on yourself to upgrade yourself to their level, and then it could work. But what I'm saying is that you literally can create the like perfect human being that you want in any traits: blue eyes, green eyes, blonde, fat, small. There's somebody out there which meets those requirements. I'm telling you.
I know, like on I swear, like a year before I met this person, I wrote a manifestation letter, and I wrote it like, and it was very specific, probably not as specific as like accent, although I did like say I want them to be from like another country, like eye color, everything like down to the feeling of what it would feel like, what we would do together, things that they would like. And like it came, like you literally can. But along that process, I actually manifested a few different people who showed up pretty, like maybe a month after I wrote that letter, they showed up. And I was like, oh, that really could be the person. They have like these qualities, but they just weren't right there. There was just like one thing missing. And then the next person showed up and it's like, oh my God, like I think we spoke about this before. It's like, I really feel like this is the one, but like they're not interested. Like, what's going on here? But then they just weren't exactly, there was just some like things in like opinions or that in friendship it would be amazing, or just what we would want, that just obviously weren't in alignment. And then but it wasn't in alignment with what I wrote in my letter. But then as soon as I like was like, no, I this is exactly what I want, and then like this other person showed up. So it's, like you literally can, but it's the same with everything.
You
Like,
know, sorry.
no, it's just the same with everything in life. Like we can track what we want down to a T. It's just like the fear that comes in and like stops that manifestation from happening. But once we get rid of the fear, then it's good. It comes.
it it's the same feeling of feeling nervous like you did in your situation with your ex-partner, whatever. That nervous feeling of something is wrong, and then you realize, okay, my gut was right. When you have that your manifestation letter and you've got say 100 traits, and somebody's coming with the 74 traits and 89 traits, if your gut says, yeah, he's got 79 of those traits, but he's not the complete 100, the point is that
Mm.
you've already written down the traits of a human being already in existence. You've not made it up like you want some two-headed fucking leprechaun with four toes. Like, no. If you have written those things, it's because You've basically gone to God and placed an order, and God said, "We've not got any in stock." If you place that order and write that down, there's stock. There's somebody out there that matches those requirements. Otherwise, if there wasn't,
You
you'll get
wouldn't
the
write it.
you get the nearest two. For example, all those traits but green eyes as opposed to blue. All those traits but shaved hair as opposed to slightly long hair. If you've written that down, you've already tuned into what's already out there. For example, I want to be a millionaire. I've always had that dream and it's going to happen because there is a I have the skills and the needs and the abilities and I'm connected to the like-minded people to make it happen. Whereas if I didn't have all those in place, then it wouldn't be likely to happen, which
Yeah.
means I wouldn't really have this drive anyway. So the order is already out there because of the likelihood of it happening in the first place, just like getting an acting role. If there's a director out there who wants this Irish person to sing in this specific show with blonde hair and big boobs, whatever, and you match it, you're feeling tuning into that I'm going to get that part because there's somebody out there already wanting that person. If there wasn't, then that part might be for another play and which doesn't require green eyes and simply it wouldn't exist because it doesn't exist out there. So any thoughts you have are because it's already out there.
Oh, completely. It's just like going to a restaurant and ordering off the menu. Like, but sometimes we're like, like you when you're indecisive in a restaurant, and you're like, oh, I want the chips. Actually, no, can you go and tell them to change that to this? And like you're confusing the chef, basically. The chef is like God, the universe, whatever we call it. So we're just like, we're constantly being like, actually, yeah, give me that guy with like brown eyes. Give me a guy who is like, a bad guy. Give me a guy who is loyal. Actually, I don't really feel like being loyal right now. Oh, give me this. The universe is just like, would you make your mind up? I'm giving you, and then like you don't want it, so I'm taking it away. And why are you wondering why I'm taking all these things away from you? Or like, not giving you exactly what you want because you keep changing your mind. But saying that, me and my friend, um, we like to follow like the teachings of Abraham Hicks, and we're all about like you attract what you want. So you can choose like what you want in your vortex, and it's like you're sifting and sorting. That's what I like to say, sifting and sorting. We're like, we get one experience and we think that that's what we wanted, but then we have that and we're like, actually, no, we'd like a bit more of this. So we're like adding more ingredients into the pot, it's like cooking a soup or whatever. And the more experiences you have and the more things that happen, the more you build up your vision of what you actually want. But if you didn't go through those experiences in the beginning, how could you know exactly what you want in your dish? Because you haven't tasted anything. That's the way I like to look at it.
As long as you're upgrading on your thoughts and not doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing, right? For
Oh,
example, every
yeah.
single relationship or person I see has the traits of the last person, and then I learn from that person the traits of what I want in the future person. So as long as you
Yes.
keep upgrading and not making the same mistake twice, the
Yeah.
universe is literally, and this is true for me right now, bringing an upgrade of the person before every
And
single
adding
time.
on.
Every single time, like literally, literally the same exact patterns. Like I'm not going to get to the specifics, but it is specific, right? And so the chef comes out and says, do you want parmesan cheese? And you're saying, yes, please. Do you want some olives as well? Yes, please. How about it chopped this way? Fantastic. Do you want it on a plate like this? Yes, please. The universe is the chef who's basically saying, what do you fucking want? And I'm going to make it. And you keep saying, absolutely. Green eyes. Yep. Rich, loads of money. Yep. Got a car. Yep. Big muscles. Yep. Big cock. Yep. It's like, well, anything else you want? And the minute he says, I'm sorry, but I can't do that, I've not got the ingredients, that's when you've asked basically for somebody to come in along who's got, say, two heads. It's like there's no one out there. There's no supplier supplying fucking food, food with threads, you know what I mean? I
That
just
is so
jalapeno, what
true.
you on about? It doesn't exist. All right, I'll just have the gherkin.
Yeah. I love using food to represent it because it's literally the easiest and like the best way to do it. But it's so true. It's like you get a better version every time because otherwise then you're not tuning into what you want. You're just like falling short, which also comes down to the whole thing of like self-love. Do you believe that you deserve to attract something as good as you or better, or do you believe that like you are enough to attract like somebody else at all? So I think it all comes down to yes, vibration, knowing what you want, having the manifestation, but also, like what you said earlier, like just you have to be the best version of yourself, or you have to be a certain version of yourself to be able to attract that person. So like it all comes down to attracting what you want, but also working on yourself and like knowing that you're enough and like doing affirmations. Like affirmations for me is just like really powerful, especially when you're feeling like self doubt or whatever. You just have to meditate and affirm your way to like knowing that like you deserve to attract. And it's like not just relationships, you know, it's like that perfect job, like you said, about like an acting role or, you know, anything. But the only thing that destroys it is fear. Like if we just get rid of that, we're like powerful creators. We really, really powerful,
Right.
I
Anything you
think.
want to promote before we end?
Yeah, actually, please. My song, probably by the time people watch this, it's already gonna be out. But if you're watching this, go check out my Instagram. It's Aimee Faye Music. It's spelled Aimee AIMEE. Faye is FEE and then music. And there'll be a link there to stream my song, which is called Crazy About You, which is like kind of like a ballad slash bit of a dancey beat. But yeah, it's about being crazy about someone. So yeah, if you can go check out Instagram, follow that, and then like there's also a link to my YouTube. If you can just follow those, it'd be great.
All right. Wait there. I'm going to stop it.